Good morning. Okay, so I promised that I would do 30 days. So here I am on the second day, not wanting to do another day. So I did yesterday's. I'm posting it today. So today is the official start of my consistency and commitment. I'm just gonna make a difference. Okay, so I was watching wait, before that, y'all gotta see this hill. Yeah, I'm getting ready to walk up there and you'll see it behind me too. So if I'm tired, don't judge me. I got weights on my ankles too, as if my weight isn't enough. But yesterday at work, I was really just like watching stuff and I call people, so that's an ideal job for me. I was watching Keon and Shawnee Henderson talk about marriage, their marriage, new marriage, them also like being in their second marriage, dealing with a marriage that did not quite work out, and also how they've been giving hope to people that are their age and just like really been restoring other people's hope and faith and love in marriage. And I love them. Watch them Sunday throughout the week. Watch his podcast. I think they have a podcast coming out, so I'm definitely gonna watch. But I say that to say, I have never understood why people have been so anti-marriage. Like, people have been so anti-marriage, and I never understood why they were so anti-marriage. Because the people that are the most anti-marriage have not ever been married. It's like the people that are so anti-marriage have not ever been married and have not ever had parents that have been married. We seem to perpetuate the same cycle, right? Unless you really do inner work. And that's what I really want to talk about today. I think there has been such a call against marriage because of the work that you have to do. And because only the top 1% is gonna make it through it. So I look at successful marriages, like 30-year marriages, 40-year marriages, 30 or 40 healthy marriages, right? Because we definitely see both sides of the aisle. We see people that are older and they are still married to that person because they've been with them for so long. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy. But when we're talking about 30, 40-year healthy marriages, I see them in the same way that I see millionaires. And that is that in order to get there, there has to have been some amount of consistency, which is what I'm working on today and forever working on. What my consistency looks like today is not what my consistency is going to look like next year, God willing. But I view marriage the same way I view millionaires, simply because the consistency, the amount of effort, the consistent development that you have to put yourself through in order to grow into a a level of communication that person is going to understand, that person will empathize with, that person is willing to also grow. You're influencing your spouse just as much as your spouse is influencing you. And that's almost the scary part, I feel like, for a lot of people. A lot of people get into this self-sabotage and they're like, I don't want that type of pressure. I don't want that type of dependence. But honestly, when we get down to it, that type of dependence, that type of development is what causes you to get to the next level and causes you to become that person that you're scared to announce you want to become, or that person that you're seeing on the other side. So like, for example, I know that cold calling, sales cycles, stuff like that, with me being in e-commerce, is what is holding me back from getting to that next level. So some people build it on other things. For me, the spirit has always been calling me to the sales cycle. Getting really good at the sales cycle, getting everything in my systems together, and then everything else working out. I have been cold calling for the past 2-3 weeks, and when I tell y'all that first week I was cold calling, my jaw was clenched every single call. One of the tricks they tell us is like, smile. When I say something with a smile, it's gonna come off really differently than if I were to tell you something and my lips were closed, or I was like, hi, this is Netta, you know. So answer the phone like, hi, this is Netta, how are you doing today? And my God, that makes a difference. But even in doing that, when I was calling people, my jaw was clenched. I was like, hi, this is Netta, how you doing today? Like, so many indicators that I was uncomfortable, but I was pushing through it. And what else would I do? I would clench my fist. I'd be like, hi, this is Netta. But I was still smiling, so whatever you do to get through it, it'll work. It's like that first week, I had 3 accounts. And that second week, I had 5 accounts. And it's Wednesday this week, and I have 3. So, God willing, we'll keep on progressing. But I said that in reference to my marriage, because I've been with my husband since 2014. So we've been with each other for 6 years. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. It's not 2020, it's 2022. And that's the reason why he's the one with the dates and not me. But we have been together for 8 years, guys. And it's really funny because we had a courthouse marriage. We didn't spend any money on our people because honestly, my husband didn't introduce me to his family until later. He was just not comfortable with the drama that had happened before, and now being part of the family, I'm like, hey, I feel you on that, pimpin'. Should I feel you the same way about my family? Our families are hot messes, and not just me and his family. It's just, you know, families all together, hot mess. 0 out of 10. Would not recommend that generation before us, but I'm definitely revving up our family and getting our family back on track, because if not me, then who? Anywho, getting into our marriage, one of the things I was really fighting myself about was like, it was too much flow. You know, he had to have some type of ulterior motive. He was so serving. He was so caring. He was so loving. Like, I've never had something like this happen to me. I've never had somebody that cared this much. So he must have an ulterior motive. And honestly, I found him online because I just did not want to be at home, sad, bored, poor, without food. And it's like, I know people that deal with that today, and I would never judge anybody for trying to provide for their situation, because that just was what it was. And we elevate, we go, and we achieve different things. So with that being said, we hung out, and that first night we hung out, he was like getting off work and he went to sleep. And I stayed like the next couple days. He serenaded me. So he worked at McDonald's. He brought what he could. So that meant every morning he brought me a sausage biscuit, because that's all I wanted at that time. And we cultivated our love from there. That's completely different than the type of love that we have now. I don't eat sausage biscuits. I don't eat McDonald's like that. And I definitely don't eat sausage biscuit and hash browns every single day. But that's where our love was right there. I think a lot of people are unwilling to start with a lot of people and, you know, develop into the person. It requires a lot, guys. I'm not even gonna sit here and act like marriage isn't hard, isn't difficult, but I'm done wanting things that are easy. I'm done looking for things that, you know, everybody else has. I don't want to cultivate something myself, and that requires like really difficult awareness and hard work. So with that being said, people want somebody that somebody else has done the work on. And if you would have seen Netta now and Netta then, temperament is so different. That's due to marriage. That's due to really humbling myself and focusing on what faith brings me. I'm not focusing on, oh, I did this type of activity and this was the outcome, because when you're dealing with your faith, 1 + 1 does not always equal 2. And I'm thankful for that, because that would be a boring life. I'm here for what God has for me. So in that might cause you to have to submit, have to humble yourself, and have to go on a path that you never expected to go. Like, those of you that don't know about my family, my mom is a divorcee, 5 kids, and like mostly what I saw her with is like boyfriends in and out of the house. And for some reason in my mind, when I saw that, I thought I would never get married. In my mind, I never thought I never want that turn of boyfriends. I immediately went and said I don't want to be married, because that was a sort of love or a sort of hurt that is completely different than a boyfriend. And what I saw myself going into, like before my husband, was like continual dating, never being by myself. If I didn't have a boyfriend, I had a side, a boo thing or whatever. And I was like, wow, the person that I was like, wow, I can't handle this. I was very well on the path to repeating the same things, just like out of spite, to a marriage. And marriage is what you make it. Marriage is the commitment that you desire to have. Me and my husband are not uptight about anything. Well, we have boundaries, but it's like what people think of as marriage, he just my homie. Like, we go places, we enjoy ourselves, we enjoy our child, we get annoyed, all these things, but at the end of the day, it's necessary. So that person was actually willing at the beginning of our union to just be like, oh, this is too much. Because my husband was like telling me day one, day two, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to marry you. And I was like 19 years old, y'all. I was like, what is she talking about? And my husband was like 25. And he was just like, I want to have a child with you, all these other things. And like, for me, that nuclear family, what I had seen my mom attempt to do, I was just like, I don't have the guts to try something like that right now. So for you to be talking about that, you're doing too much. But yeah, I have developed into a person that can make sales calls all day long, get appointments, have an e-commerce business that we are building up systematically. It is not perfect, but we're going into year 3 of trying to figure out. And I will leave you guys off with this. This quote from Lean Startup is what has really been driving my persistence. And that is, when you think of your startup, you have to think of your startup as an engine. You're trying to get your engine to work. So if you're building a car from scratch, you're gonna have to crank it freaking 1,000 times before it actually runs by itself. So with me thinking of life that way and thinking of my progress that way, I have way less stress, because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have it together. The car is not built, and this engine will eventually turn over. I just have to be patient with it. So the same way I'm patient with that, same way I'm patient with my marriage. We're definitely not as affectionate as I want us to be, but honestly, me dealing with so many like sexual encounters, I still struggle with to this day. And I'm working on being more intimate with my husband, because I already know that like he isn't like that or anything, but also the way my body reacts is the way my body reacts. So I am aiming to be more intimate with my husband, and then also I'm aiming to hit my goals for sales, like no matter what, providing each person with the questions as long as they are allowing me to ask them, and just show up the way God needs me to, so they can take me to the next level. And then that's also like me showing up consistently on here also. So I'm showing up consistently and doing my podcast when I have actual information for you guys. So thanks guys for coming in. I love you guys. Until tomorrow.